Dogs and cats living together. That's hysteria. Wow! Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig
it? What's up, you Spanish horror-loving bastards, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host as always, Jay Schatzer, and today I have just a demented and obscure flick lined up for us. It is Carlos Ored, his 1973 just really bizarre film. It is Horror Rises from the Tomb, and this one is just really out there, got a lot of crazy elements in it. They kind of mash it all together to make one hell of a bizarre flick. But let's get right in and check out this weirdness for ourselves. Here is Horror Rises from the Tomb. Horror Rises from the Tomb is a super sleazy and entirely strange Spanish horror film starring the legendary macabre thespian Paul Naschy, and filled to the absolute brim with a crazy concoction of clashing horror archetypes, making for an unusual cinematic experience that is truly like no other. Insanely mean-spirited and almost entirely impossible to predict, this bizarre fright flick goes above and beyond the call of duty in jam-packing its runtime with oddball characters, spooky imagery, and haunting mythological trappings, which results in nothing but chaotic horror fare. In surreal wonder, Horror Rises from the Tomb is an undeniably weird production that will genuinely keep you on your toes and throw you headfirst into the undefinable qualities that are Spanish horror cinema. The film follows the horrific events that occur after a cruel warlock named Alaric de Marnac and a vampiric succubus named Mabel de Lancre are brutally executed for murder and witchcraft in medieval France. Hundreds of years later, ancestors of the executioners, a strong-willed Hugo de Marnac and a skeptical Maurice Roland, travel to Hugo's quiet country estate along with their girlfriends, only to awaken an ancient curse, one that resurrects Alaric and Mabel, and plunges the young couple's lives into an unbearable nightmare of grotesque visions and unrelenting violence. Can they break the curse and conquer evil? Or has their destiny already been set in stone by their ancestors' brutal yet justifiable actions? Peculiar, robust, and all-around engaging, the cast of this wonderfully odd horror production are an absolute hoot, ranging from drop-dead gorgeous starlets to macho heroes and everything in between. With silly dialogue, questionable actions, and a sense of unbalanced fear and fancy, the main players of this peculiar tale do a wonderful job in maintaining the flavor that is Horror Rises from the Tomb. The heavy hitters of this outlandish flick are Paul Naschy as both Alaric de Marnac and Hugo de Marnac, the ancient evil warlock back from the dead, and the budding hero desperate to stay alive and keep his loved ones safe. Helga Line as Mabel de Lancre, a sensationally seductive sadist who's hungry for souls and blood. Victor Barrera as Maurice Roland, a passive painter caught up in a deadly web of destiny. Emma Cohen as Elvire, a beautiful local and fervent survivor who may hold the key to keep evil at bay. And last but definitely not least is Cristina Soriani as Paula, Maurice's innocent and attractive girlfriend and choice pick for Alaric's unsettling devilish plans. Expressive, wild, and truly strange, everyone injects a fantastic tone into the bizarre material, making it that much more of an odd and out there experience. The one true asset of Horror Rises from the Tomb is its distinct tone and uneasy atmosphere. It's completely weird and remarkably crazy, combining a whole slew of genre elements, making for a unique hodgepodge of B-movie concepts and Z-grade schlock that has to be seen to be believed. From decrepit zombies, blood-sucking vampires, and demented sorcerers, The film has it all, and it combines all of these fanciful ideas into one chaotic mess that is quite enjoyable to see unfold. The lurid lore of the piece and the sick and twisted way in which the filmmakers and crew blur it all together is truly seedy and wickedly cool, and though completely sloppy at times, makes for a highly entertaining viewing which always serves to boggle the mind with its insatiable appetite for bashfully sinister fun. It's silly, sick, and oddly performed, giving it a wild and undefinable approach that sticks in your brain with its unhinged nature. If you're a lover of surreal 70s Spanish horror, and you consider yourself a fan of Paul Naschy and his twisted cinematic sensibilities, then give this production a shot. There's nothing out there quite like it. In the end, Horror Rises from the Tomb is a batshit crazy horror happening, with enough satanic silliness and uncontrollable chaos than anyone could ever wish for. And there you have it, you crazy wackos. That is the great Spanish film, the very odd Spanish film, Horror Rises from the Tomb. Just really out there, one of Paul Naschy's best. He plays dual roles in this. He's both the hero and the sadistic evil dude. Just does an amazing job with both roles. Just the weird and crazy elements that they mash all together really are satisfying, and it really has that Spanish horror flavor. But guys, that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed that one, and I hope you like what I'm doing here. If you do, please like and subscribe. And if you have time, leave a comment below because I'd love to hear from you. But until then, I will see you all at the next movie review. Take care.